Hello, my name is Olivia Revett. I'm the physiotherapist who delivers the postnatal exercise session at the Children's Centre in Oakham for the new parents. This session is going to concentrate on some practical exercises that you can do at home, and they will be suitable for ladies who have given birth and there's no ongoing concerns or problems. If you're unsure whether you can join in, do just consult your midwife or the health visitor. But the majority of these are absolutely safe to join in with, but if you experience any increased pain or discomfort, then do stop. So equipment wise, you don't need a mat, but you can buy a mat if you choose to. If not, just find maybe the rug, or you can pop a duvet down, anything a little bit softer than a hard floor. So if you've had experience of Pilates or yoga before, you might be aware of your abdominal muscles, which we need to exercise in this postnatal period to try and wake them back up, strengthen them back up, and bring them back to a little bit more strength to enable your abdominal muscles, your deep back muscles and your pelvic floor to work stronger in this postnatal period. That will help reduce any occurrences of pelvic floor problems such as incontinence problems, pelvic organ prolapse. It will help knit back together the tummy gap separation, the diastasis recti, and any lower back problems. It can also assist with any pelvic girdle pain if people have had that. But again, you may need to see a women's health physiotherapist if you have had ongoing problems with that. So, to start with, we will come down onto the mat. The best way to come down onto the mat is to lower yourself down and then to roll onto your back. Try not to drop back if you can help it. So I'm going to have my feet flat on the mat, and you can put a small head cushion in if you choose to. So my knees are hip width apart, and the first thing to do is to try and connect with these pelvic floors and these abdominal muscles. So to find that, we can find these bony parts at the front of your hips here. I advise people to then just take their fingers in an inch and down an inch, and you find that you're in that sort of muscular area just above your groin. So in standing, I can just show you. So just here are the bony bits, an inch in and an inch down, and we can find these muscles. So from this position, I want you to pull up on your pelvic floor, and you'll feel your fingers slightly bulging under those muscles. So drawing up, and you'll feel these muscles here working. So maximally draw up on that pelvic floor, hold it and relax. Draw it up again. So you can just find these deep core muscles which we are hoping to try and activate. So when we are doing these exercises, we are not achieving them in a maximal contraction of your pelvic floor. I suggest to people to try and do a 3 out of 10 on your maximum, so about 30%. So if I pull up maximally and relax, and then I'm just going to do about 30% of that. So it's a lower abdominal muscle tone, but it will enable me to then have a bit of tone through these exercises and waking up some of these deep abdominal muscles. So the first exercise is purely doing that, pulling up on that pelvic floor. So we're not moving the body at all. I'm just drawing up on that pelvic floor, holding it, and then relaxing. Drawing up. And now trying to keep my neck relaxed, keeping the knees still, and I have a small gap down here under my back. So my back isn't completely flat, my back isn't completely arched, it's midway between the two, and we call that neutral spine. So again, I'm in neutral spine, I'm just drawing up those pelvic floor muscles and relaxing them back down. You can practice your pelvic floor exercises like this, but this is also a Pilates exercise, and it's a safe one to do straight away. We're eliminating gravity, and it's a great one for all women. So moving on to the second one, I'm going to just take hold of my hips here, and I'm now going to attempt to flatten my back by rolling the pelvis back and forth. So I'm just rolling my hips back and forth. So I'm just rolling it all the way back, flattening it down and arching it forward. So I'm getting a little bit more movement through the pelvis. My knees are still staying still, but I'm just trying to mobilise my pelvis, reduce any stiffness and eliminate any lower back pain. So again, this is a good one that you can do daily, or if you're suffering from a little bit of back pain. So keeping the knees still at all times. Imagine that you've got a glass of water balancing on those knees. Okay. So again, do this as many times. You could do this for a minute or two. We'll call that pelvic rolls. Okay. And it shouldn't cause any pain. You can have a rest as you do it if you need to. So we're then going to move on to the third exercise. We're going to engage with a little bit more movement this time. So we'll always start with the first two exercises and build into this one. So I'm going to attempt to keep my neutral spine when I do this exercise now. I'm going to keep my back midpoint between flat and midpoint between arching. So then I'm going to slide my leg down the mat. And then I'm going to bring my foot all the way back up. And I'm going to repeat that. So sliding it all the way down. I'm going to try and keep my hips even here, my pelvis. So we want to try and keep the other knee still as well. So I'm stretching down through my abdominals and bringing it all the way back up. Good. So what we don't want to do is just drop that leg down and let all these muscles relax, which isn't going to be using these muscles to provide a supportive structure to strengthen. So I'm relaxing my neck and I'm slowly controlling that leg moving up and down in this neutral spine and engaging those muscles. Good. We can do 10 on one side and then we can swap to 10 on the other side. So exactly the same, sliding that leg down and bringing it all the way back up. Sliding it down. Imagine that you're sliding it down a groove of sand and then you're bringing it back up the same way. So keeping the leg in line. Good, well done. And then once you've done 10 on that side, you can alternate the side. So you can do the left side, bringing it back up, making sure that we've got this control, and then dropping down that other side. So we're just taking a small pause between the left side and the right, just to make sure that we've still got that 30% muscle tone going on and we're in this neutral spine. The arms can stay relaxed. So this is what we call one leg stretch. We can just do a few more of those. Good, last one. So the next one is going to be hip twists. So again, we're going to keep the feet flat on the floor. I'm going to start on my left side and I'm going to keep these hips even again. I'm going to try not to rock my pelvis left and right. I'm going to take the knee out to the side and bring it back up. So I'm not allowing my whole body to rock over. I'm controlling how much I am able to take the knee away, back to the centre. You only need to take it out as far as you feel comfortable. So if you feel that it's too far, then just reduce that range a little bit. So try to do 10 on one side, whilst we're staying in neutral spine, and then we can move to the opposite side. So this is working the muscles on the outer parts of your hips, your glutes, and your hip abductors. So bringing that knee out will work some sets of muscles and drawing it back in. If you have pelvic girdle pain, be careful with this one because you might find the separation of your knees provokes pain. So go with the advice that you've already been given. And then trying to achieve it with alternate sides. So I'll do the left side, bringing it back up, small pause, opposite side, and back up. Good. Okay, good. So that was our hip twist. We have a further level of the hip twist one, which I'll show you. So it's the same name, but it's a slightly different level, but it's no more difficult. It's actually quite a nice mobilising exercise for the lower back. So I'm going to have my arms out to the side this time. My knees are going to stay together, and I'm going to keep my ankles locked together this time. So I'm going to drop my knees to this side. So my right foot slightly come off the floor because my ankles have stayed together. And I'm going to bring those knees all the way back up. And I'm going to drop them to the opposite side. So only take your knees across as much as you feel comfortable. And you'll feel these muscles on the side, your obliques, will be exercising and feeling more stretching through them. Good, well done. So keep going either side with that. You can also couple that with, as you take your knees to the left, you can turn your head to the right. Bring the head back up, bring the knees back up, knees across to the opposite side, and take the head to the left. Okay, so final, so I will just end the session with a small stretch if you feel that your glutes get quite tight, so they're your bottom muscles. So we can achieve this in a lying position. We're going to take the right leg and we're going to take it across the left knee. We're then going to take the hands behind the left thigh and pull that tight. So I can feel a stretch now happening across my right bottom hip area. So that should be sort of a slightly dull stretch feeling, shouldn't be any pain. And we can hold that for up to 10 seconds. This part of the exercise, the stretch might just be enough. If you feel that that is enough, then just settle at that stage. If not, you can take the hands behind. We can then uncross that leg. We can cross to the opposite side. And again, we're going to stretch this area here. That might be sufficient just to achieve the stretch. If not, we can take the hands behind the right thigh, which will add an increased stretch. None of these should provoke any pain or any increase in any symptoms. Okay, good, well done. So we'd hold that for 10 to 15 seconds. To come back up into sitting, we will roll to the side, using our hands to come all the way back up. So I hope that's been useful. Any further advice, please seek that at the Children's Centre or you can contact me directly.